Air pollution in London makes for grim reading. It contributes to over 9,000 early deaths a year, as well as causing many serious illnesses, for example, stunting lung development in children. But what should we, or for that matter, what can we do to protect ourselves from its effects? For some years now, air pollution levels in London have been reaching crisis levels. No more so than here on Putney High Street. This is a main artery to South London, where vehicles sit idling in this narrow high street, pumping out their fumes whilst queuing past Putney High School, located on Putney Hill, which locals have renamed Putney Ill. The major part of the problem are diesel vehicles, both private and commercial, now 30% of London traffic. And the Volkswagen scandal has revealed how diesel emissions have utterly failed to be kept within legal limits. But what's it like to live and work here? Tell me, what about the pollution in this area?
It's terrible. It's terrible because when I go home in the morning, I cough and I cough black slumps. If I'm not here, when I'm not working, I'm fine because I live in a coast, so I get a lot of fresh air. But there is pollution down here because the guy turned up and checked that machine in January. He told us, he said, it broke all records in the first day. Since I've been here, I've been under the doctor twice with a chest infection, and I'm on a pump now, which I never used to be, and I can only put it down to here.
And how worried are you on the effect of your health, but also your customers' health?
Everybody, and the business. It affects us. It will affect us all the way if it's something's not sorted out. Because once people find out it's a high polluted area, they won't shop. So it should be a very high agenda on everybody because it affects the national health, it affects us, it affects the doctors. You go to the doctors, you're getting drugs. You know, it's got to be high on the agenda.
The problem with air pollution is you're not really aware it's there. There's a slight smell and that sort of taste that you get in your mouth. But apart from that, who knows where it is? For example, you don't see many of the cyclists wearing face masks. People dining or walking along the street don't seem to be that aware, or for that matter, that bothered. So the question is, what about normal, healthy people? Is there something for them to worry about? Can I just ask you what you think about pollution? First of all, do you even notice the pollution in London?
On Putney High Street, I know it's very high, but I actually don't notice it. The only time I personally notice it is on the tube.
What would you say if I told you that apparently there are over 9,000 people dying prematurely every year due to the pollution in London?
Being pregnant, I don't really want to hear that. That's quite scary. Yeah.
Is there anything that you're doing at the moment to protect your health in terms of the air quality? I mean, do you take maybe longer walks around the park? Do you avoid high streets? Do you avoid polluted areas? Is there anything that you actually do?
Well, we like we are now. We always go for a little walk after our lunch. So yeah, we try and stay. I actually live outside of London, which I prefer because I do feel like it's less polluted.
Do you mind if I ask you a little bit about the air pollution in London? First of all, do you even notice it?
I do when I'm riding my bike on the main road, very much.
And what sort of effects does that have on you?
My breathing, I can feel my getting out of breath quicker.
And does it concern you that this might be having long-term effects?
Yes, and it does for my son.
What do you think about the level of pollution that we experience?
It's clearly high and quite dense. Obviously myself as well with the hay fever, being a sufferer, I haven't taken the tablet and I can really feel it and notice it this morning.
And you've got youngsters here.
Yes, I have.
What's your feeling about their future given this air?
It is worrying. It's also worrying at the height they are when they're in the buggies because of the car fumes and all the vehicle fumes and everything.
Now, we've just been walking up Putney High Street and we've seen some engineers here from the Transport Research Laboratory. So we're going to have a chat with Charlie Harding, who's operating the equipment, to see what the results are.
So yeah, Putney High Street was the third highest, I believe, this year. Well, sorry, for last year. And it was the third to exceed this year in the country overall. Followed by, I think it's Marylebone Street and Brixton were the other two.
Why do you think Putney High Street is particularly bad?
Pollution actually sits in what we call a canyon effect. So the wind blows over the top of the buildings, and the pollution just sits in that gully as such.
And what's the biggest pollutant that you're finding here in Putney High Street?
So vans, diesel cars, diesel lorries, and you can actually tell when a lorry stops the other side of the cabin from where you're working. You can almost tell what's there by the fact the readings shoot up. So the reduction here is about 15% so far in particulate matter and NO2, and that's due to the bus changes primarily and other factors. As I feel personally, it's more of a diesel car problem, and that's being looked at, I know, stringently at the moment. Some of the other work our team does is on emissions from diesel cars.
Earlier, I spoke to Oliver Hayes, who works for Friends of the Earth in London, and asked him how dangerous the air pollution is in London and what we should be doing to avoid its effects.
There are lots of small things that people can do in their everyday lives that make a real difference. You can walk on the quieter back streets rather than on busy main roads, and that really does reduce your exposure to some of the worst pollution. And simple things like trying to leave the car at home and taking a bike or public transport, again, can make a difference for you but also for everybody else. So there are things that we can all do in our everyday lives, but unfortunately there's a lot of pollution that we can't avoid, and that's why we need the government, both in our cities and in our local authorities, but crucially nationally, to be doing far more than they currently are. Government is clear, health professionals are clear, academics are clear that the biggest problem in terms of pollution is road traffic, and within that, diesel is the worst of all. And that's why Friends of the Earth are demanding that the government commit to phasing out diesel from road transport altogether by 2025 and making sure that we have real progress to get there even sooner.
I told him that most people around here seemed unaware or at least unconcerned by air pollution.
Often you can't see air pollution, which is one of the main reasons people sometimes aren't aware of it, but that's why Friends of the Earth has produced our Clean Air kits, which you can order from our website and enables you to measure the air where you live or in places that you care about. Thousands of people are already taking part, and it's forming one of the biggest citizen science experiments ever seen in this country on air pollution. So we urge people to go to our website and order a Clean Air kit.
I'm speaking to Ariba Hamid, who is a clean air campaigner for Greenpeace. We've heard a lot of doom and gloom, frankly, about the effect of pollution on our health and our future. We've talked a lot about the alternatives. How optimistic are you about the future of our air quality in London?
It is true that we are in a serious situation when it comes to air pollution. We are breaking legal limits every year, and they're being broken in shortened time. It's going to have a massive health impact on people who are exposed to it. Despite all of that, I'm actually quite optimistic because I think solutions exist. There are alternative, cleaner technologies. There are ways in which we can change our mobility. Investment in greater cycling and walking infrastructure, cleaner cabs, cleaner buses, more affordable public transport network, an extensive public transport network. So the change is already happening. All we need is the political courage, really, to embrace it faster.
Things are slowly getting better, but it is going to take time. Delivery vehicles have been banned from stopping during the daytime here, and measures introduced to ease traffic flow. Transport for London, or TfL, has replaced or upgraded polluting buses in Putney High Street, which became the first low-emission bus zone from February. It's clear the growth in electric and now hydrogen-powered vehicles and buses will eventually make big improvements. Also, from next year in London, all new taxis will have to be zero-emission capable, all contributing to a healthier environment in the future and our children. I'm Alistair Greener for South West London Television.